you might normally do it. You might check Ice Rock Cave earlier than you normally would.
Well, the winner of this match will move on to face Gloin TV in the round of 16. So definitely getting close for the end of the tournament here as the stakes get higher. And we should be off in just a minute here. Now, we'll get a weapon from Uncle at the beginning, and we are off now. We can see right at the beginning, Uncle does not have a sword in his hand, so we will not be getting a sword right away.
We do get a Moon Pearl right away, so if our racers get access to Dark World anytime soon, they will keep their form.
It also enables fake flippers to turn on Jesus Walk, so they do have access to that Zora area items a little earlier than the logic intends with that Moon Pearl. We'll see if any of our runners decide to try to farm for rupees as we find out that that first weapon is going to be the Blue Cane.
I'm ready for some magic conservation here. They'll need to make sure that they do not run out of magic by the time they get to at least the rat with the key in the back of Escape.
There are a lot of small pots in Escape with small amounts of magic, so they will have plenty to be able to farm for bombs. They're just going to have to be aware of their surroundings. And you can see right away both players picking up the 2 small magic pots right next to that boomerang chest after defeating those 2 guards.
Yeah, that Blue Cane has a big startup magic cost, so keeping it on isn't necessarily the worst, but you don't want to have to start it up and then start it back up again just because you didn't leave it on long enough to kill a blue guard.
So they're really looking for density of enemies, and as you can see, both of our runners deciding that these 3 green guards here are not good enough, and Dataworld actually throws a pot at one and gets a bomb drop early.
I think that was one of the short sword guards. Hopefully Unfit can pick one up as well. I really do not want to see this or any race really come down to, oh, well, they just didn't get a bomb at the beginning of Escape.
The bomb at the beginning of Escape is important for those of you not familiar with the Randomizer standard mode races. There are 3 chests in the back of Escape that you can get to right at the beginning, and then afterwards you have to go back a very, very long walk in order to get them later when you do have more bombs. So it's very valuable to get those bombs early. However, there is a shortcut. You can use either the level 1 or the level 2 gloves to get back there rather quickly. So the important part here is that there isn't the only glove available in those 3 chests in the back of Escape. And that's really the danger of not getting a bomb during this sequence.
I have seen that happen in this tournament on a match I commentated. One of the first matches I commentated of this tournament. Somebody even went and killed Aga looking for those gloves, and they were in the back of Escape. And at that point, you have to go all the way back through the Uncle entrance to even get back to Escape.
It's a tough decision to make. It's a tough call to make. Whether or not, do you want to spend extra time farming for bombs? Do you have the resources in the case where you're using a weapon with ammo like the Blue Cane? Did your opponent get bombs? So there's a lot of questions out there for our runners during these first 6 minutes or so of gameplay.
We saw Unfit actually use his cane there to take out the ball and chain guard. He picked up a full magic pot off of the green guard earlier, so he actually has a little bit to spare. He still even has more than Dataworld at this point.
And Dataworld actually got that full green magic pot right out front. We threw a bush at one of the green guards, so he already got that drop in the prize pack, so he will not be getting that at any point soon.
So this is a Link to the Past randomizer. We have a lot of different things randomized in this game. Item locations, prizes at the end of dungeons, whether it be crystals or pendants. There's going to be a lot that's not randomized as well. Items that are not found in chests or are not found just out in the open or from NPCs, those will still be where they are. So keys that are under pots will still be under those pots. Enemy locations will still be the same. However, the racers just have to basically use their wits and puzzle out which way to go in this game to figure out how to get to Ganon's Tower.
It really revitalizes this game. It's as though you're playing it for the first time, although these runners obviously have very high levels of execution that carry over from the vanilla game. But going through, exploring, finding out what is the best sequence, what is the shortest path that I can possibly take. And you can see actually both of our runners right here, there is a small magic in a pot over to the left there, but they both decided to skip it. Dataworld, I'm not surprised. He's already got his bomb. He knows exactly how much magic he has. Unfit, however, going to spend a second here to farm those snakes. Those snakes are going to take 2 hits from the cane in order to die, but none of them dropping a bomb today.
Yeah, this is going to be unfortunate for Unfit. Unfortunate if everything goes the way it's going right now.
The sound you just heard was my eyes rolling. You can see there's a high density of rats in the top right there that Unfit on the previous screen neglected to go fight. That's also a popular farming spot for Blue Cane late. But it looks like just one screen away, he is not going to have a bomb for these 3 chests back here. We're going to see if Dataworld is going to get a huge advantage here or not in these 3 chests. The sword is certainly going to help. More bombs and 20 rupees, so nothing disastrous. Thankfully for Unfit and Unfit's fans.
I mean, that sword could still come into play. We've seen a couple of races, including some in the top 32 brackets, where the Go Mode item was a Master Sword. So hopefully Unfit remembers this later on. Oh, well, there is a weapon right off the bat that they will not need to concern magic with, is the hammer.
So that is part 2 of 3 for getting our Dark World access here. And you're absolutely right. That sword can lead to gloves. So it can still be a progression item. It can still lead to something like Aga if they don't get the cape. So it can still be necessary. Unfit could still get the short end of the stick here, but odds are much, much lower now, as the sword is not generally a progression item in that sense. And we see
a quick map check there. Looked like Desert was a red pendant and blue pendant or blue crystals at Hera and Eastern.
So does that affect your decision to go to Eastern Palace early or not?
Well, I mean, they still got like 16, 17 items they can get between the woods and Kakariko. If you get a bow, you absolutely go to Eastern right then, right there. As soon as you finish up Kakariko, I would even skip South Shore for it.
And we get the cape in the mushroom spot, so that actually takes away the possibility of that sword being a progression item that could lead to those gloves. So it looks like Unfit is going to be safe. Not only that, but Dataworld picks up the gloves anyway. So Unfit is going to pick those up very shortly and will not be punished too hard for not getting that lucky bomb drop in Escape.
Thankfully, there's going to be a good bit of rupees available under pots in Kakariko, but Unfit can't even afford to buy bombs at this point.
There is a 50-50 bush in the southwest of Kakariko. We'll see if he makes use of it or not. Gotta assume that both of these runners, being this far into the tournament, are aware of most of the smaller details that you would not normally encounter in a playthrough of this game.
So we'll get our first look at the first 5 chests of Kakariko here. 4 in the bottom and 1 in the back. We get 10 arrows, piece of heart. See what the right side has for us, a full heart container, and bomb upgrade. So nothing really important down there.
And you can see Unfit picks up 2 bombs. He gets 1 from a guard drop that he didn't get earlier in Escape. That's actually the same bomb that Dataworld used to get those 3 extra chests. And also he lifted up a rock on his way down into the village that was a 50-50 bomb drop rock. Don't normally come up and play because you don't normally have the gloves this early, but he had them and was well aware of his surroundings. So heads up play by Unfit there to get 2 bombs early.
And that's the kind of stuff that will separate people from a top 32 position to a top 128, or even just the brackets in general. Randomizers, not like NMG, where it's all execution. There's routing, and there are things that you have to know about in Rando that you wouldn't normally have to know about in MG. And we found the hook shot down in the well. Wow.
So we have a lot of options after we finish this Kakariko playthrough. We can go right into the Dark World. We can go up Death Mountain, go to East Death Mountain. It's a little bit of a sequence break without that lamp, but we can still do it. South Shore is, of course, available, and Eastern Palace is available. With that book that Dataworld has in its possession, you can even go into Desert, Pendant Desert. So there are a lot of choices for route diversion here very, very early in this season. That's the kind of races we like.
Glad they got that book, because the library is open and reading is fundamental, darlings.
You just call the chat darlings?
I did.
So our runners, you know, in choosing where to go next, they're going to be looking for item density. They're going to be looking for what's going to get me the most items per minute. But more importantly than that, they're also going to be looking for what do they think that their opponent is going to do? Because if they believe that their opponent has an execution edge or that they've, you know, made a few mistakes, then they probably don't want to do the same thing as their opponent, because if you do the same thing and your execution's a little behind, then you're going to lose the race. And so you can see them prioritizing that item density, but also sometimes going for the less item dense play in order to get an advantage over their opponent. Take a little bit of a gamble.
That library has the magic powder in there. That may lead to something. That's one of the fetch quest items, but it's a great safety item too. Turn those anti-fairies into fairies.
And it looks like Unfit's going to miss that book. Where was the book?
Book was at the bottle vendor.
All right, so he's gonna not have enough rubies for it. Instead, bought bombs, I believe. So decided that the bombs were more useful than the random item at the bottle vendor. Bottle vendor doesn't often pay off, but individually, none of these locations really do. Dataworld, meanwhile, going to take a trip around the forest to use that shovel. Unfortunately, just digging up a bomb capacity upgrade.
See, something I would have considered is actually just using the shovel to try to dig up some rupees. But you also have the bushes south of the shovel spot that maybe you just try to farm some bombs there when you go get the shovel, so you have some for South Shore.
Unfit playing the odds, believing that his fastest way is going to be just buying the bombs and either coming back to bottle vendor, because it could be a while before that book even pays off. So we'll see. We'll see if that pays off or not. It's definitely a gamble we'll see play out as the race goes on.
And with Desert being appended, that book may not even pay off at all. It could be a red herring.
And we get silver arrows right in the dam. So the Ganon fight at the very end of this race is going to be made a heck of a lot easier now.
I mean, if they find the bow pretty early, that's going to make a lot of the game really easy. There are bosses that will die in one hit to that arrow.
And Unfit, acutely aware that he does have those 3 chests in escape, so he's going to go and pick up his sword right here.
We'll get a double bomb kill in Mini Moldorm Cave. That's always not necessarily impressive, but just feels good to get.
Yeah, those Moldorms do not like to play nice, and their movement is very, very erratic. So getting that bomb to kill not 1 but 2 of them is very impressive.
Unfortunately, doesn't lead to much. It looks like a heart piece is probably the most impressive thing in there.
And way short of rupees for Zora, so we will likely not see Dataworld's Fake Flipper up that direction. We will see an Ice Rod cave check, though. A little bit out of the way, but it's not really going to be much more available than it is right now. Much more convenient than it is right now. Sure, it could be faster with the boots, or it could be faster with the flute. But if it ends up holding one of those 2 items or being required earlier, it's definitely the right call to make this now rather than later. A lot of runners will skip this, however.
Thing is, when you skip it, it's something important. When you go check it early, it's a single rupee. We'll see what Dataworld finds here in the Frozen Cavern. And it is going to be just another piece of heart. That does give him a full container, though. You don't want to go into Dark World with too few hearts, especially with Green Melt. Those enemies can and will destroy you pretty quick.
And these low resource races are what's going to really push the skill and really test the skills of our runners. So I'm excited to see our runners head into Dark World already. And it looks like Dataworld is heading west into Kakariko Village, going to use that Dark World portal right away, or possibly come up to Death Mountain here. No, he's going to Death Mountain. So with that hammer, with that hook shot, with those gloves, he's going to have access to a ton of chests up here. He's going to have 7 in Paradox Cave. He's going to have 1 in Spiral Cave. He's going to have access to Tower of Hera, which will have 2 items, which he may or may not have access to, depending if that basement and a fire source is required for it or not. He's going to have access to the Old Man. He's going to have access to Spectacle Rock. So lots of items up here for Dataworld to find, and this is what I'm talking about when I said earlier they're looking for item density. And Death Mountain is certainly the item dense play to make right now.
I'm not sure how the math works out on it, but with 5 hearts and likely to be more by the end of this, 6 now, will he have enough to go through Spike Cave with the Magic Cape?
That's going to be really, really close. We'll see if he even attempts it. I'm not sure I would even attempt it at this point, but he does have the hammer and the Moon Pearl, as well as be on Death Mountain, so he does have access to it. But as far as making it through those spikes, it's going to be close. I believe it's outside of logic right now, as we see the Ice Rod on top of Spectacle Rock.
50 rupees on the inside of it. Probably not going to go grab those. Yeah, I would maybe consider it if he finds another heart container or two. 6 hearts going through that Spike Cave is tough. He does have the hook shot, though, so he can skip a good bit of it.
Link is invincible while that hook shot is active, so you can use that to kind of hook shot your way across on those torches throughout the cave. As we see Unfit actually going to take the fake flipper here. Going to use that Jesus Walk glitch with the Moon Pearl here. Even though he doesn't have enough money for Zora, he'll still have these 2 chests in Waterfall Cave.
And dataworld falls to the top of Paradox Cave. I guess 300 rupees for his trouble, and now he's climbing the stairs to the bottom of Paradox Cave. And we get these other 5 chests up here.
And nothing much happening inside of that Waterfall Cave, but you'll see that that eye is now bouncing on the water instead of swimming in it. A little bit more health there for Dataworld, so maybe he's got that in mind. And we see the fire rod on the ledge for the Zora item.
So we know where both of the rods are. Ice Rod generally being one of those items that's very trolly later on in the game if Turtle Rock is required.
That Ice Rod can normally be anywhere, as it is only required to defeat the boss of Turtle Rock. And that Fire Rod, definitely knowing where that is very, very good to know. So that information that Unfit has is going to be valuable going into the later stages of this race. Meanwhile, Dataworld's going to head west, going to pick up whatever he can in Tower of Hera, which is a crystal dungeon. Now, with that ledge, you saw Unfit look at that ledge and then head right back down to go check out Hobo. He does not have the ability to get that item yet. There's a couple of ways to get it. The game intends you to necessarily have the flippers in order to pick that up. But there are a few ways with the boots or with a fairy in a bottle to pick that up out of sequence. So we'll see if which way Unfit will choose to get that fire rod as we progress in the seed.
So in Tower of Hera, we saw a piece of heart down in the basement. Dataworld does get the big key from the free chest at the beginning. Going to take out these hard hat beetles with some pretty accurate throws. And we will continue up, hopefully finding the second item on the way up here.
Dataworld will be able to come away with his first crystal as we get a map check in the Dark World from Unfit. Looks like we got pendants at both Thieves Town and Misery Mire, while crystals 5 and 6 are at Palace of Darkness and Ice Palace.
That is a green pendant at Misery Mire. That's the one that's required to get the item from Sasarashima. That is normally going to be the boots. But again, this is Randomizer. This could be anything.
And Dataworld setting up a bomb jump here. He's going to use that first bomb to put him into pixel-perfect position to get across that gap. Doesn't want to hit those stars during his bomb jump. And down to a single heart. Going to have to be a little bit careful here. Makes it through just fine.
That's a really clever setup. In fact, I started noticing people using it probably about a week ago. I was never able to accurately do that bomb jump really well, and now I can get it every time just by using that setup.
So he did hit the switch, so he did have access to those health pots on the way up to fight Moldorm, everybody's favorite boss. Pulls out the hammer. No, he's going to get the cape. All right, there we go. There's the hammer. And there's going to be 3 hammers on this tail of Moldorm, but he takes a fall, so we're going to reset that count now back to 0.
That just shows you how terrible this boss is. And I say that in the best way possible. That these top 32 players in this randomizer are some of the best Link to the Past players in the world. Still taking falls to Moldorm.
He is a slippery one, that Moldorm. And we get the first hit on Moldorm. Now, he did pick up that second item inside of Tower of Hera in the form of that bottle, I believe. Is that true? Did I make that up?
The bottle was in Paradox Cave, I thought.
Oh, the bottle was in Paradox Cave. What do I know? Did he pick up the second item?
Unless there was a second bottle, which looks like a treasure showing that there was.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. I'm looking at chat to see what I made it up. Chat says I made it up. All right, well, we got three hits on Moldorm. Moldorm's dead. We get our first crystal here. So we'll not be able to go back in for that basement item. I don't know whether it's required or not. Either way, he's got 2 bottles. He's got a lot of items out of here. He can go back for Spiral Cave. He can go check in that tablet over to the west here. And he's going to do just that. So he's got either Spike Cave or Spiral Cave to do here. Neither are really good for going to the other one from. And it looks like we're going to get a mail upgrade on the tablet. Probably not going to come back for that. And we're going to attempt it.
We are going to see 6 Heart Spike Cave. Or is that 7? Yeah, 7 Heart Spike Cave.
I think he's got enough at this point. He looks like he knows what he's doing. So the blue cane is definitely the better item to use here, as it does have that startup cost that you talked about, but it does use less magic over time. So, and he does have plenty of magic and hearts to get that 20 rupees at the end of the Spike Cave. Chat asking if the commentators are unaware of Unfit's frozen stream. Yes, we are. So Dataworld going to head back to the Sanctuary now, having nowhere to go from Spike Cave. He did not do a map check of the Dark World, I believe, while he was in the Dark World, very briefly for that Spike Cave item get. So he's going to head west again. I think this time, I'm more confident this time that he's going to go to the Dark World.
Note that we did not see Spiral Cave while Dataworld was up there.
So that's something that's going to weigh in the back of his mind, but you do have to leave some items unchecked, and he made the decision to go for Spike Cave, thinking that if his opponent was up there, his opponent would probably check Spiral Cave. That's my guess. I'm just speculating there. Uses those bottles, turns them in as part of a fetch quest, gets 50 rupees for his trouble. That's Zora money.
Looks like we're getting people who are watching Unfit stream basically on his channel and not through the restream. But it looks like Catfish was a piece of heart.
And Dataworld going to head up to the Dark World. He does have the opportunity to check the pedestal here using his book. Probably not going to do so at this time. Maybe save that for a little bit later in the run, if at all. Pedestal run's not going to be something our runners are looking forward to. They want this done. The quicker, the better. And there's our Dark World map check from Dataworld.
I was not able to get what that was. Does anybody have any idea what the Dark World dungeons were?
That's good. I see what you did there.
Now, we're getting Skull Woods here. I wish Skull Woods just had its own theme throughout the entire dungeon and not just the overworld parts, because that is the best music in the game.
So 2 items in total in Skull Woods. Not going to be able to get all the way through it without that fire rod, but we'll be able to collect a lot of the items, including the Master Sword. So a welcome offensive upgrade for Dataworld here.
That is just kind of a, I guess, upside down location. Master Sword normally at the pedestal in the vanilla game, and we find it in Skull Woods this game.
And 20 rupees to the east of the big chest here. So that's actually going to be, even though the 20 rupees isn't necessarily useful for Data World, it is a welcome item because it means that there are no more items in Skull Woods. He'll be able to come back at the very end, probably when he's got Tempered Sword and that Fire Rod, and maybe a little bit more health even, in order to defeat the boss and get that crystal.
Looks like either just arrows or an arrow upgrade on Bumper Cave. So not going to bother going up there and dealing with those pterodactyls either. And Data World is going to head down into Village of Outcasts.
Making good use of the hookshot to get around the world a little bit faster. With no boots, you're kind of limited to walking, but with that hookshot, if you know where the things are that you can latch onto, you can get a little bit of an advantage, a speed advantage, using that hookshot.
And there's the lamp in the C-shaped house.
So that unsequence breaks us. We are no longer sequence broken on Data World side, at least, as we do have logical access to Death Mountain now.
And Tempered Sword at 25 minutes in. That is a big get right there. Data World looks like he's going to go into Thieves Town. It is a blue pendant, I believe. So nothing that you'll get from killing blind unless an item is on blind. There are 4 items here. It is completely completable. Getting the big key there in that first chest, it does have to be in one of the first 4.
A lot of runners will decide when Thieves Town is a pendant to just do these first 4 chests. But we could see Data World clear the whole thing in hopes that that's what his opponent is going to do. We could see if he finds, the map and compass here, to go ahead and finish out the entire dungeon in an effort to get as much bang for his buck here by entering this pendant dungeon. So Unfit really taking his time to write down the map.
Oh, there's the flips on Data World side. Gonna be able to swim his way basically anywhere in the game at that point.
So those flippers going to access that Fire Rod, although he doesn't know what's there. And he is indeed going to take this intentional death to get out of here. Collected the one item that he thought was of value and now is going to leave. So that trip will be required as Swamp Palace, and is certainly going to require those flippers with or without minor glitches.
Ice Palace is going to require it within logic, but fake flippering is one of the easier tricks to pull off. It is pretty easy to get there without flippers.
So as some of you in chat may have figured out, Unfit stream is back. We're just having a little bit of difficulties getting it back on this stream. While you're here, though, you can go check out Unfit directly, and why don't you check out Data World too at the same time? You can give both of these runners a follow while you're there. They're putting on one heck of a show for us already, and they're definitely runners that you want to watch going forward in this tournament, and for future tournaments for that matter.
Data World doing a little bit of digging, just getting some arrows out of it, so nothing there. He's going to make his way over towards Hype Cave, it looks like. I'm going to check Stumpy as well on the way. While he's making this little trip, I do want to remind everybody, please stay tuned after this race. We do have an announcement going on for something big happening.
And you will definitely want to stay tuned for that, especially if you're enjoying this randomizer tournament. So Data World going to head over to Hype Cave. Hype Cave has been more of a gripe cave lately, not really having anything in this version of the randomizer. It used to be very famous for always having progression. But either way, it's got 5 items in it. It's really hard to leave that high of a density just kind of sitting there. So we are going to head into it and see what we get today. And while he's holding up that heart piece, he can't take damage from that bomb. So we have another bottle. We have 20 rupees. We got the Titans mitts, and we got the mail upgrade. So those Titans mitts certainly are going to make this a hype cave. And I'm getting word that Unfit has also checked Hype Cave. So lots of choices now as far as where to go. It looks like Dataworld's going to put those flippers to good use and check out the hobo at the very least, as well as that Lake Hylia island item. Can't quite get that island item yet, but it's a piece of heart, so we're not going to get it anyway.
We know that there's not really going to be anything at hobo. However, once he heads up to Zora area, he is going to at least get the fire rod up there, which, man, at that point, I would jump right into Ice Palace.
Ice Palace is a tough call. Ice Palace is a 5/6 crystal, so it will give half of the access to Pyramid Fairy. What's the other one there? Skull Wood. So he will have access to Pyramid Fairy after this, believe it or not. By logic.
No, it's Pod.
No, it's not Pod. Pod was a pendant. Oh no, Pod is a crystal. It's right on the screen in front of me. I just need to look at it. You're right, it's Pod. So we can't do that yet. What was Skull? Oh, that's just Mothula's tail I'm looking at.
Crystal.
See that? See, Mothula's tail looks kind of like a star there. Look at it close.
It does. This is not the first time I've heard people make that mistake during this tournament.
Look at that. The tail of Mothula is confusing. Thank you, Scooby-Doo. All right, so we're going to go... Dataworld's going to pick up his fire rod here. And actually, shout-outs to our tracker today. Our tracker is tracking the frozen stream of Unfit. So shout-outs to Trinexx. I hope I pronounced that right. This is just Snack. Give Trinexx a follow.
I think the N and the S are silent.
The N and the S? So it's... The N and the S? Hang on. Yak? It's just Yak? It can't be just Yak.
We are going to go see what Zora has for us up here. See if he has anything actually for sale, or if he is just going to rip us off.
I refuse to believe that it's Yak. I'm not buying into that. Zora's got 3 bombs though, so we're back up to 9.
Dataworld is buying bombs, however. Oh, he didn't get that fire rod.
That seems like a misplay. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. That could be huge, as that fire rod is most certainly required for a multitude of reasons here. It's going to be required for Turtle Rock, going to be required for Skull Woods. He is not getting 5 crystals without it. Well, we do have access to Bombos on Unfit's side, although I have no idea where it is. So we will be able to do Ice Palace, but yeah, he's going to go up and check Dark Death Mountain instead. Interesting that he decides to use the lower of the 2 entrances. He does have Quake in his inventory, so we would be able to open up Turtle Rock if it were Quake. However, as our very, very skilled tracker has revealed to us, it is Bombos that is required to open Quake. So no opening of Bombos required to open Quake. No, I said that wrong. This should be Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock's what we're trying to open.
Dataworld apparently did not even check the ledge. Did not show up on stream for him. Man, that's a tough miss.
That's a real tough miss. That's gonna be tough. And I mean, playing in these tournaments, in these one-on-one scenarios, is incredibly stressful. It takes an incredible amount of not just skill in playing the game, but you're thinking about your execution, you're thinking about your routing, you're thinking about, oh, we get the bow there in Hookshot Cave. That's beautiful.
That opens up completely.
And a red cane.
Wow.
And a single root. So that is absolutely huge. That has been the best cave in the game so far. Red cannon bow. Where's that bomb side now?
Does that open up both EP and Pod?
Absolutely. And they got the lamp, so they're both in logic even. So Dataworld will have the ability to go over there. He's not going to find that fire rod, though. I'm really worried. Where's Bombos? Who in chat knows where Bombos is?
The spiral cave that Dataworld didn't check.
Oh my goodness, you're killing me. So we got Bombos and Spiral Cave. So what do we need for go mode at this point? We need Mirror in order to get that ice rod. As well
we'll
as
need that for Swamp.
Beat Swamp, but
that should be it.
Shout out to chat for all typing Spiral Cave in at once. What do we need? Do we need boots? No, we don't need boots. I mean, we need boots, but we don't need boots. That's it. That's all we need. We need a mirror, and we're done. And we got a 1 in 22 chance of needing those boosts. That is something else. So we are at 34 minutes in, and we are 1 item away from go mode. Well, as far as like the commentators are concerned, anyway. Unfit's going to have to make his dip into Thieves Town in order to get those flippers. As in addition to that, that'll give him access to that fire rod, as well as logical access to Ice Palace, as well as actual access to Swamp Palace. As far as the Ice Rod, we know where it is. We know Ice Rod is on top of Spectacle Rock, so it is blocked by the mirror. No way around it. Hey, we're back with Unfit, and we're both in Eastern Palace now.
Unfit is he's got a blue mail as well. It looks like either that or that is a very glaucoma-y eye. But he is on his way into the dark room. Does not have the lamp from the sea shop or sea house.
Doesn't need it though.
Just shoot those bombs.
And does manage to get the key from the Igor, using those arrows to kind of mark its place. And gets through the door just fine, as Dataworld is picking up his piece of heart to the east side. I love that chest. I love that chest on the east side because you can hookshot over to it. I think that's just one of the things that shows this game was basically made for this randomizer, because it's not like a huge time save to have a hookshot here, and it's not like you're intended to have the hookshot in the first dungeon of the game, but it's just such a cool interaction that arises only because of the randomizer. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's not even taking into account like some of these races that are done with like full glitches that you can do. Just tons of really, really neat stuff that, man, really cool stuff you can do in overworld glitches.
Yeah, glitches are really, really awesome. They're really awesome, everyone. So Armos goes down easily. 6 arrows, 6 Armos Knights, 6 kills. And reveals that piece of heart and that crystal, so that's going to be Unfit's second crystal. And people in chat asking, why would he turn off the silvers? He turned off the silvers for that that room right at the beginning, that first dark room, or the second dark room, I guess, with the Igor in it. The reason is the arrows introduce a lot of lag. They introduce a lot of lag. And so just wanting it to be a little bit faster, it's worth that menu to switch them over.
Yeah, the silver arrows, mirror shield does it too. A few other items can really do it. Magic boomerang for one.
So both of our runners now up to 11 hearts and blue mail, so they have plenty of defense, more than enough defense, in fact, for the end of this game. I'm sure they'll pick up a little bit more as the seed goes on. Unfit still missing that book, so we won't have access to that second mail upgrade, the 3rd level of armor. Quite yet. Also still sitting with the level 1 sword as he heads into Palace of Darkness. And this is the right call as far as density of items. This is a required dungeon. You're going to have to search for the big key anyway. So it's not that much faster if you just go in just to beat it. So this is a great play on Unfit's side. Unfortunately, well, he might find the mirror in here. Could be the mirror. Book was at Bottle Vendor, which Unfit had skipped at the beginning.
I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Broadstone, one of the volunteers for this tournament. They helped get Unfit stream back up and running, so thank you very much for that.
Yeah, anytime you hear a name on stream, you just give them a follow. Follows are free. They don't cost you anything. You just follow as many people as you want on here. Just give people follows. There's a lot of like interesting people, very helpful people, very friendly people, very entertaining people. You just watch them. You can be their friend on the internet.
We're taking our first look at the Palace of Darkness. Unfit doesn't have a lamp, so we'll see why they call it that here in just a bit. Getting this first little chest down here, if this is a small key, yep. That means this dungeon was not bow locked, or at least the back half of it. is still blocked, but the front half you can still get a bunch of chests without it.
Look at that eye though. That eye is good. That eye can see in the dark. It's got great low light vision.
Rods and cones and corneas.
Look at it bouncing. I love the sprites that people have done for this. So dataworld just rocking the vanilla Link sprite. I mean, that's fine. You know, that's great. Good for him. But the Unfit with the vitreous mini eyeball here is fantastic. And there are a lot of very talented artists in this community that have contributed many of these sprites to the randomizer. And they're just absolutely adorable. As we get the bug net, not progression, but very important.
Still think it should be a one-hit kill on Mothula.
Oh man, they could program that in easy. Where's Carcat? Get on that.
Now, seeing the back half of a pod here, Palace of Darkness, going into our first mimic room of the game. I'll make good use of these silver arrows. Or acceptable use, I guess.
No boots to dash through this spike room on Unfit's side, as dataworld has the same idea about Palace of Darkness, and is going to go check for those 5 items as well.
Yeah, out of the places they got available, this is probably the most item-dense location, and it is a crystal, and it's one of the 5/6 crystals, so you might as well get it out of the way as early as you can. Oh, dataworld's personal tracker has the fire rod listed as in his possession. And I don't know if he has noticed that he does not actually have it.
That's something that's less of a concern. Oh, dataworld has dataworlds?
Yeah.
Or Unfits? Oh my goodness. Does he have it? Did we miss it?
He doesn't
There's
have
no
it.
way we missed that. Well, he might. So he saw it. So we think he saw it at least.
Yeah,
he just didn't pick it up. So that might be like he might. I think he'll remember that. I think he's okay. He'll have to go back for it. It's definitely a time loss still, but I think it's not the disaster we were thinking it was.
Yeah, with as often as you're menuing, I can't imagine that you'll not see it. Not there. Not.
And you can see Unfit taking on the first of the dark rooms here in Pod. Gets the mirror. So that's going to be it. At 42 minutes in, we know where all the items are for Go Mode. So we know where the fire rod is, which is locked by the flippers. We know where the flippers are. Those are in Thieves Town. We know where the ice rod is, which is blocked by the mirror on top of Spectacle Rock. And that's it. That's everything. And Unfit's going to make his way through the dark maze now. Now, this might not be the most exciting thing in the world to watch for someone who doesn't is not familiar with what's going on, but there is a maze that he's navigating through. He's using the kind of sparkles of his sword to navigate himself as, you know, the Dongos are throwing beams, balls of fire at him. So this is very technically impressive. It requires fantastic memorization and coordination, and, you know, playing off the sound cues as well as these small visual cues in order to pick up not only 2 chests in here, but navigate yourself through this maze to the exit. So, yeah, it looks boring though.
We'll be seeing it with the light on dataworld side, so you can see how sort of difficult that maze actually is to do in the dark. If Unfit is doing this without a map or a JPEG of the room, that can tell you, like, just how strong of a racer he is, if being in the top 32 didn't already do that.
And you can see dataworld having a little bit less trouble with it as he is able to see with the assistance of that lamp. And looks like they're both going to exit this room at about the same time here. Unfit going to replace that bomb. So Unfit was able to make it through. However, he did struggle with it just enough for Dataworld to pull ahead in this dungeon specifically.
The great indoor fight.
So we're going to have to see Unfit eventually go over to Skullways. You got to think that is pretty high on his list of places to check, knowing that that is a crystal that is required for anyway. And it does have 2 items in it. Once he's in that area, maybe he decides to dip into Thieves Town. And that could be it. That could be his flippers and that's it. Although he wouldn't want to go to Skull because he doesn't have the fire rod because he's waiting to get the flippers. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, thankfully dipping into a big gamble.
Oh, this is a tough game. All right, so you can see Dataworld putting those sword beams to use. Unfit also at full health, however, only with the level 1 sword, not going to be able to use any sword beams. And now Dataworld's going to suffer the consequences of having those sword beams here. Does not want them for this room. Is going to make beautiful work out of these turtles anyway. They're called terror pins in the canon. One of the more difficult rooms to do, however, Unfit does have bombos to make a little easier time of it.
Those probably would hurt if you got shot with one from a cannon.
I mean, I think that's true of most things. Like, what is something that if it was shot from a cannon wouldn't hurt you? If you just, like, stood in front of it. Like, there's not really a lot of things on that list. Like,
the actual concept of love.
No, that would hurt. It's still, because you still get the, like, I think it would hurt. It'd be too much of a weight to bear.
Dataworld taking out Helmsaur, ripping out his entire middle. They said it couldn't be done, but he gets a big 20 for his trouble.
So that's Crystal 3. So what do we need now? We need, so that's done with Pod as Unfit makes his way to the Helmsaur King. So we gotta go get that fire rod. That fire rod's important. We get the mirror now. And Unfit with a smooch to the dome takes out the Helmsaur King.
Got a little bit scared for Unfit's dream there again, but everything is coming up Millhouse here. Dataworld dropping into the Dark World down just south of Link's house. Gonna go to Swamp Palace, it looks like. Oh, never mind. Jukes is out there.
You want to save Swamp Palace. I think he's got enough other things to do right now that he can save Swamp Palace for at least a little while. Swamp Palace does have 6 items, so it is fairly dense. However, it takes a long time to complete, a real long time to complete. So we're going to check South of Grove, Ledge, Cave instead, just see a full heart container. Going to pass right by on that. It's got 1 more heart for the 12 hearts, so we don't need it. Throw it in the trash. Flush it down the toilet.
I think Unfit is doing the same thing at this point. You're going to get a few of those mirror spot checks out of the way. If you're not rounding them in with other things, they are just kind of weird and wonky to get to in and of yourself. But he's probably going to loop back up, and I can see him picking up the frog, dropping it off, doing Pet Cave.
And Unfit is going to take that heart container. Always welcome a heart container. Heart container, really good defense. So we'll definitely take that. Put it in the pocket.
And Unfit not having checked Stumpy yet, getting another full heart piece.
So Dataworld gonna go ahead and check Swamp Palace. Unfortunately, we know there's nothing in here. Because we're looking, there could be the boots, I guess. That's about it, though.
Yeah, the best thing you find are things that are going to be nice to have. Boots, flute could be dangerous.
Flute could be real dangerous. You're right. Flute could send him on a chase into Misery Mire.
It sounds like a real
being quick.
Misery Mire just sounds like a real unpopular place. Nobody wants to go there.
And Misery Mire is the green pendant, so you might even be tempted to go ahead and beat it. Oh, that's awful. So Unfit going to pick up the frog here, going to turn him into a smith. And again, unfortunately, we know that there's nothing doing there. We have all of the information we need to get into Ganon's tower. Unfit just needs those flippers, which are sitting in that third chest in Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Dataworld needs to go back, get his fire rod. He already has the flippers. He already has the mirror. So he needs a Bombos medallion is the most important thing for him, which is sitting in Spiral Cave.
It is really right there close to Turtle Rock. I mean, it's just a mirror away. And then one more climb through Paradox Cave. But yeah. When does he check Spiral Cave at that point?
That's tough because there's no reason to go up there. You've gotten everything on Death Mountain, both Dark Death Mountain and Light Death Mountain now, except for Spiral Cave. So it's just one item and it's really long to get there. So it's a pretty out of the way check. So you're going to check basically everything before checking that. Meanwhile, Unfit really just looking for the flippers. So I think, and also sword upgrades, but I think that he's on much less of a wild goose chase here. I think Unfit is definitely the favorite to win this race at this time.
Well, he's carrying around the lunchbox right now, which means he's not going to be able to go into Thieves Town unless he just drops it. If he takes it all the way back down to Gary, it'll just be like a trip in the Volvo despair, really.
And Dataworld electing to not check that left side of Swamp. We'll see if he ends up going back in at the end of this dungeon to get it. So isn't going to full go mode it, isn't going to full clear it. Something in the middle. Unfit now has that Master Sword. We know that Tempered Sword sitting in Skull Woods. So he will most likely go there at some point. But like my co-commentator Virtua Cat was saying, cannot go into Thieves Town with that purple chest.
And then we're getting a 1 cycle on Argus. That in and of itself is pretty impressive. We almost saw a 0 cycle last night in ACMLM versus Zero Rush. That is one of the hardest things to do in the game. But Dataworld getting some bombs. Those little eyeball puffs turning into bombs on the way out.
That purple chest really going on a world tour here. We're going to go over to Spooky Ledge, check that out. Don't have the boots. We can't check King's Tomb, can't check Bonk Rocks. And I believe chat said that we had already checked the catfish over on Unfit's side. So probably not going to dip across over to that, especially not without the flippers. So this is just a race for the last 2 items, and Dataworld gonna go back, realizes he doesn't have that fire rod. Thankfully, he's gonna pick it up. So that was he's really averted disaster there. Now he's gonna be kicking himself because he saw it earlier and he just didn't pick it up. So often you go to Zora, you get the item, and then you save and quit immediately. It's just muscle memory at this point. But with Randomizer, sometimes you can't do the muscle memory thing. So he's definitely going to be a little bit stressed here, especially this being Game 3. Knows there's not a lot of room for mistake. Knows he still needs that Bombos medallion. and he just has to find it somewhere. So it's gonna be, it's gonna definitely weigh in his mind that he's behind right now, and he is.
I think both of these racers are going to think that they're behind. Unfit still hasn't even bought the bottle vendor item, which was the book, which we know is not going to lead to anything aside from a mail upgrade at worst, but nothing that's going to be progression.
Yeah, he doesn't want that book at this point. That book is just going to send him in the wrong direction. It's not required for Desert, as we know Desert is a pendant. And Data World, unfortunately, going to head into Ice Palace, another long dungeon that is much, much faster by minutes if you do not have to collect any of the items. So, unfortunately, this is going to be a tough call for Data World. We'll see where Unfit heads next. He needs to go into Thieves Town.
Like, I think Spiral is going to be the last place that Data World goes. You would have to do an entire climb of Death Mountain, which isn't super long in the grand scheme of things, but for just one item, when you can, hey, well, let's dip into this pendant desert and get 2 items real quick. Let's go through Ice Palace, which is a crystal, which is a full clear, but get 3 items out of it. Getting that small key is going to make it a lot faster, though.
So we got a question in chat. How are we actually saying that Data World is behind? Data World seems to have more items. He's got more crystals. Why are we saying that Data World is behind? The reason is, first of all, Unfit is going into go mode right now because he's going to enter Thieves Town and then he's going to get a Flippers and he's done. Unfit knows where 2 of the items are that he needs to complete the game. He knows where the Fire Rod is. He saw it at the Zora Ledge. He knows where the Ice Rod is. The Ice Rod is on top of Spectacle Rock. He knows what's required to open Turtle Rock, and he has it, which is the Bombos medallion, which he got in Spiral Kick. Now, Data World does have that Fire Rod. He does know where the Ice Rod is. However, he doesn't have the knowledge of where that Bombos medallion is. He knows he needs it, but he doesn't know where it is. And the Bombos medallion is in a very tricky place. It's in Spiral Cave, which is up on top of Death Mountain. It's a very long climb to get on Death Mountain. And he's already gotten every other item on Death Mountain. So it's going to be quite a while, we believe, until he gets back up there. So in the sense of how much our runners are going to be looking around for things, it's going to be a while. And Unfit at 57-13 is in go mode.
Yeah, he immediately pulls that mirror out as soon as he finds those flippers. He knows that he is ready to roll. And keep in mind that the 2 dungeons that Data World is doing before hitting his go mode were Ice and Swamp, 2 dungeons that are made extraordinarily quicker by being in go mode. Probably the 2 most in the game. You save the most amount of time by not doing your checks.
So it does look like Data World's ahead. He does have more crystals, but Unfit has a sizable lead at this point, and it's only going to grow the longer the Data World spends not going back up to Death Mountain.
There is around a 4.2% chance that that big key will be on the torch in Ganon's Tower, which means that those boots will be necessary.
So with the Master Sword, as Unfit's only sword here, he does have the ability to pick up a couple of quicker chests along the way through these dungeons. Try to get that Tempered Sword. Try to save that time on the Ganon fight and just in general through the rest of the game. So we'll see which, if any, chests he decides to take a look at.
So we got a question asking about what Go Mode is. Go Mode is basically when the racers know where everything is and they can just complete these dungeons. Their goal is not to find items. Their goal is to kill that boss, and you can skip a lot of chests that way.
Exactly. They have everything they need. They just got to do it. A large part of the game is spent looking for things, and we no longer need to look for things on Unfit's side. And that third sword, of course, in Skull Woods. That Skull Woods chest, though. It's in Skull 1. Probably not even going to go into Skull 1 on Unfit's side. It's not quite worth it. As we see Dataworld pull off a bomb jump to get that mushroom. So again, another item that's going to lead him further away from Spiral Cave. He even has the ability to use that to do fake powder.
Fake powder, that's another one of those really neat glitches that's allowed in this mode of the game. There's a lot more that are allowed in other modes, but we don't allow them here.
Oh man, have you ever watched a Major Glitches race? They're really fun. They're really fun to watch.
And we see our, what is it, 4th eyeball boss coming up in Cold Stare.
Yeah, this game definitely has something going on with eyeballs. And you know what? You know what the worst part is? Is none of them are even walking. They're all like, this one's like skating, and then like Vitreous is like floating or bouncing. Yeah, I guess it's more of a bouncing eye. And then you got like Argus, which is just like swimming, I guess we'll say.
That's why AJ Alnuma, his nickname is Mr. Eyeballs.
I guess you could call Moldorm like googly eyes. Moldorm's the best. Yeah, not a lot of walking. Not a lot of walking eyes, unfortunately. Speaking of that swimming eye, Unfit's going to head in there. With the Master Sword, you're going to take 2 swipes per puff that he pulls off with that hook shot. He could either do the 2 swipes or he can spin. He also has the option to kind of pull off 2 at once and try to get a little bit more efficient like that. It's a little bit trickier to do, of course, but these runners are both very, very practiced. So we'll see which strategy Unfit takes into this boss fight. As Dataworld going to continue his search. Now he does have both of those 5-6 crystals. So it looks like he's going to head to the big bomb vendor to check that Fat Fairy spot.
And Unfit doing double pulls and spins here. Dataworld, yep, going to go check out the double-chested fairy.
So Unfit making very good work. Not as quick as Dataworld, but considering he has fewer resources, definitely an impressive fight. And a single arrow to the eyeball results in the kill and that crystal. So a much, much faster Swamp Palace on Unfit's side.
Obviously, we know that this bomb play is not going to work out. Hugs, not bombs. But we are going to get 2 chests out of it.
It doesn't even rhyme.
I think if we just drop otters out of airplanes to hug people, it'll all be better.
Like, it's not even, like, alliterative or anything. Like, you could do... what's something positive that begins with B?
Well, we know there's nothing on Pyramid, but let's check inside Pyramid. 20 rupees. Times 2.
What about, like, butterscotch? Like, butterscotch, not bombs. I like butterscotch. Butterscotch ice cream. Or, like, bananas. Everybody likes bananas.
Blue bottles. Makes good sense there.
Yeah, blue bottles. There you go. Blue bottles, not bombs. That's got 2 B's in it. So a little bit of safety for the end of the game as Unfit goes back to Zora area, going to pick up his Fire Rod. So after this, what we got? We got a Go Mode Ice Palace. We got a Go Mode Skull Woods. Oh, actually, I love this routing here by Unfit because he's going to be able to go pick up that Fire Rod and come right back, hit that Whirlpool that he's passing by right now, and then walk right into right into Ice Palace. This is beautiful. I mean, without that flute, usually you're in, you know, kind of a tough spot. You're doing a lot of save and quitting. But when you can avoid that, when you can get there faster just by walking, or in this case, swimming and a combination of swimming and bouncing, it can really save you a considerable amount of time. So definitely good heads-up routing by Unfit here. He's really played the seed well.
Yeah, that we could see. No pun intended. But Unfit's doing a really good job here. Dataworld's going to go noodling up here with the catfish.
Again, just going to get more disappointment here. Oh man, I really like this routing by Unfit. Doesn't even want that heart piece. Just disappears while Catfish is throwing it at him.
See, Unfit basically just needs his Ice Rod at the moment, which we know is on the top of Spectacle Rock. Dataworld needs that plus Bombos. Bombos is in Spiral Cave.
And both of our runners obviously know where that Ice Rod is, so they're not concerned about it. You're going to see Unfit do a go mode Ice Palace here, or something close to it. He might spend some time looking for those boots or that sword upgrade. Not going to find him in here, but definitely something he is going to consider.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go out of his way to get some of the chests over on the right side. The Ice Tea room, the Ice H room, or the Ice U room. I mean, with Canis and Maria, hookshot, bombs, he can just bomb jump over and just drop right down into Cold Stare.
Bomb jump is something that looks very impressive. It's something you learn fairly early when you're trying out these randomizers. Definitely recommend not only learning randomizer, but learning that bomb jump. It's not as difficult as it might seem, and we'll point it out as we get a little bit further into this dungeon when Unfit actually goes to do it. But if you want to check out the randomizer, it's not as bad. You don't have to do quite the advanced strats that these guys are doing here. Although it is impressive. It's just a lot of fun. It really breathes new life into this game from 1991. So come join us on Discord. Learn to play. Lots of resources for new players. If you're thinking about getting into it, get into it because it's fun.
Yeah, just go to ALTTPR.com. We've got a lot of people who have put a lot of work into this. Everything from actually coding this to just making up new avatars for people to replace that, or sprites for people to run as. We see Vitreous over here on Unfit side. If you want to run as Luigi, you can. If you want to run as Zelda herself, you can. There's a lot of them. There's probably around 100 of them now at this point.
I have no idea how many there are, but there are a lot. A lot of characters from other games, a lot of just different characters from inside Link to the Past, and Unfit sets up that bomb jump, and not perfectly though. So he's using his sword kind of to see how far away from how many pixels from the bomb he's at. He's starting at the top of the wall, and then he's going to go 1 pixel in between the bomb and the sword, which is why he's kind of holding it out. And gets it on that try. And that's going to allow him to skip all of Ice Palace's puzzles. You know, you're supposed to double back, you're supposed to do all sorts of stuff. And Dataworld going to follow that book into Desert Palace and come up empty.
Yeah, but it looks like the only pendant dungeon that we need to even dip into was Thieves Town, and only just for the first couple chests. You only had to spend maybe about, what, 45 seconds in those dungeons altogether.
And not even going to check the free sword chest is Unfit, so he is in full go mode. He doesn't want anything to do with any more dungeons. He wants to go right up to Ganon's Tower. This is game 3. We don't have time for items.
This is your own tournament on the line, the Staff of Life on the line, and Unfit is going to be dropping down into Cold Stare.
Takes 8 fire rod shots to take out that Cold Stare shell, but only 1 Bombo. So he's going to put that Bombos medallion to good use here.
And then Fire Rod, not even doing hammer.
Fire Rod does do more damage. Fire Rod is going to do the same amount of damage as a level 4 sword, whereas the hammer is going to do the same as the level 3 sword. Not only that, but you can get splash damage on the Fire Rod, as you saw a little bit there. And of course, the spin from the Master Sword going to do the same as the hammer, but with a little bit more range, but with a little bit more of a charge up time. So with only 4.5 hearts and blue, 2.5 hearts now, he's playing with fire. He's playing with house money. Might as well drink that red potion. You got it. Definitely a good call there. There's no, like, he didn't get hit, so you know, you can say, well, he didn't need it, but like it's huge peace of mind, huge confidence boost to just know that, yeah, you can't screw up here.
Yeah, once you hit around the hour mark, that hammer doesn't really become as useful as a weapon as it was early in the game. With them getting it so early, you'll be downright amazed at what you can destroy with just a hammer. And now they're just using their swords, fire rods. Unfit may end up with Tempered by the end of this. Data World has a chance to end up with Butter Sword.
We don't know where that 4th sword upgrade is. However, we do know that there is one that Data World got that Unfit did not get and likely will not get in Skull 1. So Data World going to be the first to take on Mothula as Unfit heads that direction. And very quick Mothula fight. 5 spikes move, so that's a 5 out of 10 on the scale. As Data World picks up his 5th crystal, 6th crystal. So he knows he's just that 1 item away. He just needs that Bombos medallion in order to finish this game. He chose to do Spike Cave instead of Spiral Cave on his initial trip up Death Mountain. Did not ever come back. Did go back to Dark Death Mountain. However, he took such a route that he was not. He did not have the mirror at the time, so he was not able to check Spiral Cave then either. Now it's the only item left up there, so he's probably not going to head back up there for a very long time.
General checking the pedestal. We've known that Pet has been dead for about close to around 30 minutes now, but it is just a whole bunch of rupees up there.
Oh, it would have been exciting when boots were on pedestal. That would have been real exciting. So Unfit with that Master Sword, 14 hearts, and that Fire Rod, gonna head to go see the Mothman. Gonna pull out the silver arrows for these Gibdos. Normal arrows don't do anything against these Gibdos, but saving a little bit of magic. The Master Sword, definitely not the ideal thing here. So he's going to conserve as much magic as he can in order to use that Fire Rod on Mothula.
This is unfortunate for Data World, dropping back into Thieves Town. And I'm going to check out the back half of it.
It's so tough. Every single location in this game is more efficient to check than the one that he needs to check. And it's just sometimes you get randoed, and here we are. So this is definitely Unfit's race to lose at this point. We can still have that, you know, that 1 in 22 where we're looking for the boots to get the big key on the torch, but that's a bit of a stretch, to be honest. And a little bit longer of a Mothula fight on Unfit's side, but does get the job done.
And that leaves 1 dungeon left for Unfit, going up to Tortoise Rock. Got to pick up that ice rod from Spectacle Rock on the way, but this seems to be in the bag for Unfit right now, barring crazy torch shenanigans.
But don't you worry, we have plenty of things that are worth you staying tuned for. So not only are you going to get to see the rest of this race and, you know, the elite levels of execution by these runners, we also have a special announcement at the end of this that could be anything. But it's very special, and you're going to want to stay tuned till the end of the race, till both runners are finished, for this special announcement. We didn't figure out which one of us is going to do the special announcement. Did you want to do it? I did like an intro.
Sure, I'll do it.
All right, we'll let you do it. I'm jealous, though. So there's that ice rod, the last piece of the puzzle for Unfit. Going to pull out that mirror to go get it. And the Maiden getting rescued on Data World side. Unfortunately, not going to have anything today. This is tough. He's already got everything in Desert. He knows there's nothing at the pedestal. This is going to be all a Thief. Doesn't have access to Mire. So, what else is left on Data World side? There's not really a lot.
Hopefully he does not find a flute, because if he finds a flute, he's not going to Spiral Cave. He is going directly to Mire.
Yeah, even finding the boots at this point isn't terrible for him. There aren't too many boots locked places. 2, 3 if you count 3 if you count powder. But he's got that mushroom. I don't think he turned that mushroom in, so he's still got mushroom time. He might have turned that mushroom in.
I believe he did.
So we know that powder's sitting in the library, so he could, Boots would unlock 3 locations effectively. As Unfit opens up the turtle and pulls out the shovel, going to dig around for a little bit. Nope, decides to go with the red can.
And Dataworld looks like he's going to do the Smith chest right now, or Smith quest right now.
He has already done Bombo's Tablet, as well as South of Grove, Dig Spot, Stumpy, all those checks. So he will be able to just save and quit directly with the purple chest, make his trip down there a little bit faster to check what's inside. Unfortunately, we know it is nothing good.
No, Unfit breaking out the can of Burna.
And out of magic, but thankfully there's a full magic refill right here at the beginning of Turtle Rock. It's just a very well-designed game. Like it requires you to use quite a bit of magic to get inside, and it requires you to use quite a bit of magic once you are inside. So putting that full magic refill right at the beginning of the dungeon, very, very friendly of the developers. Rest of the dungeon, this chain chomp room, not so friendly, but the rest of it is. And he does have sword beams here. Not the most common thing in the world to have, so not a lot of runners are used to it. And he is in fact going to go ahead and use the Cane of Samaria as is normal. Gets the big key in the chain chomp chest. That'll save him another check later on in the dungeon.
Getting through that chain chomp room without getting hit is pretty boss. That's a great move. I really like his strategy of just not taking damage.
You know, that's one strategy that I've never even considered trying. I always go for the get hit multiple times in the chain chomp room. Just 300 rubies for Dataworld from the lunchbox. Why does everybody call that guy Gary? Who decided that guy's name is Gary? I'd like to have a word with them.
Dataworld might be making the play here. Oh man, if he does Spiral Cave after this, he will be on his way. And he's not necessarily very far behind. But,
he's 5 minutes behind.
And just consider me tugging on my collar of my shirt here.
We got to talk more. We can't let the silence go on for that long. That's a fact. So, Dataworld gonna head. Oh, that's right. There is still one item in Hera. So he's got a fire source now. He's got a couple of fire sources in that lamp and that fire rod. As Unfit heads into the big key door here in Turtle Rock. Does have that lamp this time. Won't have to do dark room navigation. And this is a long check for Dataworld, so he is going to exploit a little bit of a glitch here, where if you're standing on top of one of those block things that come up, it just gives you invincibility frames. And Unfit knows he's got enough keys for the end of Turtle Rock, so doesn't even need to check that chest in the roller room.
Got to be careful when you do this over on Data World side. There is a spot right between those bottom two pegs that you can really get kind of pegged in there and not be able to get back out.
No, you can't. See, I see people make this mistake. You can get out if you have the red cape. You can just throw the block over. Yeah, and nobody knows this. And it's very frustrating to watch people mirror and redo the whole thing when they got the red cane. Just put the block out, pick it up, throw it, and then before it, like, when it gets into position, then you just shoot it, and then it hits the switch for you. It's very good to know.
All potential runners of this race, take note. If you get pegged in there, block yourself out.
Unfit pulling out the blue cane just doesn't want to take any chances here. 0 chances. He's playing with house money now, and he knows it. Gonna get that full magic refill even. And here comes Data World. He's rounding the corner. At the finish line. Falling down the hole. And at 1:20:22, he's in go mode.
On Unfit's side, however, here comes a very special boy, and it is Trinexx. And unfortunately not going to be able to live much longer. Taking out 2 of the necks. 3rd neck on the way.
Guy spends more time exploding than he does living. Master Sword Trinexx, not an easy fight. The game definitely intends you to have the gold sword at this point. But Unfit pulling out that hammer that we got oh so long ago. Better luck next time. Data World unable to solve the puzzle. This is a very tricky puzzle. Half magic too. That's a nice pickup. That's gonna give him a little bit of peace of mind going into that Ganon fight. Although he's got plenty of magic in bottles, I think. So when you do mess up this puzzle, you have to screen transition twice in order to, screen transition in order to reset it. So Data World does just that.
Hey, we got to do a game real quick. This is going to be a very fast game.
Oh, man,
there are 22 possible locations where this big key can be in Ganon's Tower. We want everybody in chat to guess 1 through 22. If you are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or if you donate 250 bits or more, you would get a chance to be on our leaderboards if you guess correctly. Walking Eye, where do you think it's going to be?
21. I like 21. I like 21 because, not because I'm being mean to the runners, but because I like seeing as much of Ganon's Tower as possible. I like left-right gambles being relevant to the time. I like seeing the runners kind of show off their stuff. I don't want it to be in the torch. That's unnecessary. That's egregious.
I'm going to go with Tile Room.
No, see, nobody wants to do the Tile Room. This is why I picked 21, not 22, because Tile Room is just, you sit there. It's just like, they both have the cape, so they're just going to use the cape and then hug the wall for 45 seconds.
I want to be Tile Room so I can go get a drink.
Did you hit stop? Did you do stop on the game? Oh, you did.
Stopped.
Yeah, you're on top of things. We're going right side. We're going right side on Unfit side. We're not even going to find out what's on the torch yet. Oh my god, I thought he was going to pull out the cape and do Tile Room right there. So no boots in this room for Unfit. Going to have a little bit of a smaller window to get through this door, but has plenty of time as Data World is starting to make his way through Turtle Rock.
So chest 1 and 2 not having anything. Chest 3 having the boots. Well, chest 4 20 rupees, 20 rupees, and 10 bombs. Uncle Bombs.
So this is definitely, at this point, this is Unfit's race to lose by a lot. We won't even get Data World bailed out here via, the boots being in a weird location, because now we have those. So
these Baz Luhrmann looking footwear.
And we got the tempered sword on the torch.
Shoes that look like Cruella de Vil. Headlong Warp Tour.
Boots on the right side, sword on the torch. That's incredible. So he is all geared up. Like the difference between Master Sword and Temper Sword on Ganon fight, and even going through the Gauntlet, is huge.
Those boots look like they're made out of a top hat from a Stone Temple Pilots video.
I didn't see what that last chest was. Well, he's still going, so it probably wasn't the big key. How many chests in are we?
6 on the right side, 7 for the torch, 8, 9, 10, 11. This should be 12?
I believe it. So you see dataworld take out that Pokey with a sword spin. Wasn't able to do that on Unfit's side with that Master Sword, but now they're pretty even on swords here. And depending on which route dataworld takes through this, might not pick up those boots on the right side.
So yeah, this should be 12 here. It's the second shield upgrade of the game.
See, now if the commentators get quiet, you can be rest assured we're counting chests in our head.
Alright, the 2 right side and the 4, so that's 6. Chest is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Stealth Buster. No, that was 13 for Snake Room.
$16 was the answer. 15. Was 15. It? I don't think it was 15.
2 on the right side, then the 4 in the
yeah, 6 on the right side.
Other room.
7 is the torch. 8, 9, 10, 11 in the Stalfos room. 12 in the
firebar room.
13.
13 was steak. 14, 15, 16.
It was 16. See, I told you.
It was 16. Yeah. Yeah, we're good at math.
Dataworld gonna drink that red potion. Doesn't want to take any chances here. Knows there's a full magic refill, so doesn't need to use up the blue potion.
And our winner for this race was Morbus99. I was a big fan of his in WCW. Congratulations, and you have made it closer to our leaderboard.
I was worried we weren't going to get a wrestling reference in here today.
Who better than Canyon?
So we got dataworld starting this Trinexx fight with the Temper Sword. Going to have a little bit of an easier time with it. And Unfit starting his Gauntlet fight. I still can't get over the boots on the right side when it goes right side, and then the sword upgrade on the torch. I still can't get over that. I mean, he's going to be thinking he's the luckiest runner in the world right now to have gotten that sword upgrade right there. If you go left, which is what like that's the conventional wisdom, that's the majority of runners are still doing, like. You don't get that. You don't get that sword upgrade. You have to do a Master Sword Ganon. That's incredible. So we're going to go ahead and you can see that bonk off of the wall there. He's using that to set up timing for these silver arrow shots. See that little fireball guy in the bottom left? That's called a Medusa. You want to make sure that that shoots at you, not when you're in the middle, but when you're literally anywhere else so that it doesn't get in the way of your fireball shots. Dataworld, meanwhile, going to head into Ganon's Tower.
I think the biggest thing that Unfit has to worry about, like he's got Tempered Sword, he's got Silvers. He needs to make sure he does not despawn all the enemies in Ganon's Tower.
That doesn't happen to real people. Yeah. Oh, yeah, special announcement. Don't forget, we got a special announcement coming up at the end. These runners don't even know there's a special announcement. They think they're the main attraction. And they are. Give them a follow. And see, look at Dataworld's going left now. He sees that butter sword. He's like, oh, man, I wish I could have that butter sword. Can't. People in chat asking about despawning all the enemies. There's a timing thing. This game can't do 2 things at once is what it comes down to. And if you try to do 2 things at once, then everything disappears from the top floors of Ganon's Tower. You can't actually go to P-Daga 2. But didn't happen, so don't worry about it. We're gonna go fight Moldorm 2 instead. Is the same as the first Moldorm. Is this like a different Moldorm? Is this a reincarnation of Moldorm? I don't know what's going on here. But he's dead.
Oh no, I think it's just
yeah, he's dead.
I mean, there were a bunch of Moldorms in the first game, and there's baby Moldorms in this game, so you're just probably an adolescent Moldorm.
All right, so here we go. Dataworld's gonna just go right side now that he's checked those 4 chests on the left side. So he's gonna get his boots. He does know where that butter sword is, so he will be able to get that butter sword if he wants. I don't know if he's gonna have time to get it though. As generally speaking, with this route, the slowest, the worst case location is the bottom right chest in Rando Room, which is where the big key is.
Yeah, if he decides to mirror out and then go back and check out left side, I mean, that's still better than him continuing on and doing Ice Armos.
All right, so he is going to go left side now. That's fine.
And there goes Aghanim on Unfit side.
Why didn't you get the butter sword? You don't want the butter sword? You get the boots now. Wow, disrespecting the butter sword.
Boots and Butter is my favorite small town dairy farmer in Colorado.
I can't get over this disrespect here. So, Dataworld, thankfully not going to have to check the Ice Armos fight, as Unfit drops in at just under 131 here. Something about bugs.
It is time to bash the fash here against Ganon. A good use out of Temper Sword. Already into mode 2 here.
And that cape, half magic, and the bottle of magic sitting in his inventory is really going to make sure he is able to one-cycle these first 2 phases. And does indeed get the one-cycle in both of those. Now it just needs 4 hits to exit phase 3. So, yeah. I mean, these runners have put on an incredible show for us. Unfit has absolutely had God vision throughout this seed and has the execution to back it up. This is going to be a well-earned victory for him as Dataworld picks up his big key. So, definitely give both these runners a follow as much as we're kind of, goofing around here. These guys are putting on one heck of a show. And you're going to want to follow them. Not only Unfit for the rest of this tournament, but you're going to want to follow both of these guys for all of their future adventures in streaming. And like I said, follows are free. You can follow as many people as you want. And the double
and there
to finish out
is Boss Hog going down. And as much as we talked about, can Dataworld do Spy Cave? Him doing Spy Cave instead of Spiral is what brought about his demise here. A big GG to Unfit.
Yeah, definitely get your GGs in chat. This is well deserved by Unfit's side. Unfit going to advance to the round of 16 to face Glowing TV. So stay tuned for that. Give both of these guys a follow. We're going to put the links in chat one more time here. Well, we'll probably do it a bunch more times. One more time right now. And Dataworld coming through the gauntlet now as we try to get, we're going to try to get Unfit in here for an interview. Now this gauntlet is made a little bit easier by that half magic. You get to use the fire rod a little bit more liberally. You don't have to worry quite so much about saving it for the torch room or anything, because you do have that half magic. And again, Dataworld not using the bonk strats to set this up, but just the same, it's going to pause just before getting into the middle of where those landmos are going to spawn to use those silver arrows. It gets a beautiful one cycle.
That was really, really nice.
And using that cane to make these rooms look easy takes out all of those wizards in just one cycle in both of those rooms as he heads into the torch room.
So with that, I think we are almost done with our top 16. Somebody's helpfully posted a list of who else is still in the tournament, and it is Gerdo, Asazes, Amazing Afros, Hippos, Ben, Christos Owen, Fryme, Salty Fry, Kyong, TGH, Gem, Pink Kitty Rose, Zelga, Zero Rush, Andy Gloin, and now Unfit has been added to that list.
This is a good tournament. This is good. I'm enjoying this tournament. A lot of really good races. A lot of really good racers. And Dataworld a little bit low on hearts here, but I believe he's got one potion left. Doesn't have the powder or the mushroom here. Takes care of Moldorm. Gets that compass in the Moldorm 2 chest. Oh, we got swordsmiths. We didn't even get breadsmiths. That's sad. And remember, stay tuned. We got a special announcement coming up at the end. Special announcement.
One that we have definitely not hinted at this entire
We didn't hint
race.
at it. I didn't hint at it at all. I was just saying things that I liked. The triple to start out on Dataworld side. Hang on, there was some line that they gave us right before this match. There's some line that we're supposed to say. Oh no, that we're not supposed to say that yet. I see. Never mind. One heart left on Dataworld side. Does he have a potion? I'd be using that potion.
He's got 3 bottles.
This is scary. All right, he finished out. It's fine now. Everything's good. I was a little nervous there. I was a lot nervous there. Yeah, this top 16 is gonna be incredible to watch. I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, I'd say congrats to Unfit for making it that way, but I mean, if he's got to play Gloin, that's tough. But I mean, Unfit has shown that he is more than capable of beating pretty much anybody in this tournament.
And Dataworld going to use that hookshot iframes instead of the cape in order to try to get his one cycle here. Does so very, very effectively. Gonna pull out that bow. There is a small window you have in between phases 3 and 4, between when that torch goes out and when you're able to when you're able to actually hit Ganon and freeze him. So I'm gonna try to get in a silver arrow shot or 2. Just one here is at the top. And then sets up for a double, possibly a triple. No, almost. Very close. Very close.
Close to it, but this should be
clean
it.
Ganon fight, though. Clean Ganon fight, though.
A 1-heart Ganon fight. Gross.
Let's get your GGs in chat once again for Dataworld. Dataworld's finishing sub 140. Still a remarkably solid time. You're finishing about... Ooh, he's got the bow dancing going on there. That's great. I'm always afraid I'm going to fall off if I do that. So GGs to both of these runners. That was a heck of a race to watch. That was really, really fun to watch.
That was incredibly fun race to watch. I know that we couldn't see part of it on Unfit's side, but for a brief period. But he came back and he was like, "Oh my gosh, he's got all these items now. Wow."
I wouldn't worry too much about that. People in chat were worried on Unfit's behalf. That both of the runners did discuss, like, make sure you local record your race because of, you know, just in case of internet problems. So I'm confident that he's got the full recording ready to go. So everything's good. Everything's fine here. Special announcement. Oh yeah, we got a special announcement. We're not gonna do it yet though. We gotta do the interviews. Hang on.
Yeah, we gotta see if Dataworld wants to come in.
Yeah, let's find some people.
I think Unfit is just hanging out in chat on Twitch right now. If you all have any questions for him, but we'll see if Dataworld wants to talk to us.
And are you checking on that, or should I check on that?
I'm checking on it, but I don't think that's going to be.
Oh, we don't even need to check on it. Dataworld's is here. And we welcome Dataworld into the chat. Dataworld, GG's. If you're talking, we can't hear you. Maybe you can hear us. Well, if you can hear us after this interview, right after this interview, there's going to be a special announcement.
Maybe that's why he's being quiet. He just wants us to hurry up and get to it.
He just wants a special announcement? Too bad. You have to do an interview first. I got like a question ready to go. I'm really excited to like ask it and talk about the scene. It was a really, really fun race to watch. So while Dataworld's getting his mic set up and everything, let's follow the runners in chat once again. Unfit for Real and Dataworld. Both of these guys put on one heck of a show, and they are definitely worthy of a follow.
All right, looks like Dataworld has muted, and all right, we'll just go to this announcement real quick. We got a great announcement ready for you. The link to the Past Randomizer community is planning an Overworld Glitches tournament starting on July 30th of this month. It is going to be 64 people only, single elimination. We're going to keep it at 6 weeks or less. There'll be a requirement of completing at least 2 Overworld Glitch races or seeds in under 3 hours, with either video on demand or race result as proof. We are going to put a link and chat for that. We'll also be announcing that in some of the other races later on. But if you want to see Randomizer done with even crazier things instead of just fake flippers and super bunnies, I hope you're ready for everything else.
I mean, the Overworld Glitches races are so incredible. They require a level of knowledge that's unbelievable. You're allowed to do absolutely everything. The only requirement is you have to actually go ahead and beat not only Aga 2, but you have to beat Ganon with all 7 crystals in your possession. So they will still be going through, you know, there's not going to be like EG clip to the Triforce room kind of things going on. If you want to know about the details of what is allowed in the major glitches modes, you can head on over to the Link to the Past Randomizer website. They got all sorts of details posted on there as far as what is allowed in the mode. And once again, you can do that !OWG to get more information about the brackets themselves for Overworld Glitches if you're interested in watching or joining. So that should be a really fun thing. Like you go into Ganon's Tower like right away. Like it's like the first thing you do is you get the boots, you go up to Death Mountain, you clip right into GT. It's great.
I think from my point of view, it's much more fun to watch that than to race that, because you have to have a knowledge of the game that is beyond compare to do these Overworld Glitches. Looks like Dataworld has his mic working. We'll see if we can get you unmuted here, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, GG.
Hey, good game. You ran one heck of a race there. How are you feeling after making it this far in the race, in the tournament?
Pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't mind going on a couple more rounds, but top 32 was already way more than I hoped for. So,
well, definitely, yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of. You ran an absolutely incredible tournament and even an incredible race here today. That fire rod. Did you see the fire rod on the first time through?
Yeah, I saw it, but I didn't. I forgot to pick it up, and then I wanted to route in some first because I was going to follow the mirror anyway, trying to find bombos, and yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah, Bombos is one terrible item if that's what you need for go mode there. But thankfully, you didn't have to dip into Misery Mire at all in order to look for it. So we were worried for you that you'd find that fluid early. So at any point during this race, did you feel particularly ahead or behind?
I felt during the race, I mostly felt ahead, unless bombos happened to be in Hera basement or Spiral Cave, in which case I was probably losing rather badly.
And unfortunately, that ended up being the case, and that was really what did it, as you may have figured out at this point.
Yeah, that's one of the risks of sequence breaking Death Mountain like that. You have to orphan either Spike Wave or Spiral Cave, and it's not really easy to get back.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, that was the only thing you had up there, and it just didn't make sense to go back up there at that point.
No, not really. It would take, especially considering how close we were actually to go mode. Those locations weren't really my highest priority. So,
yeah, I mean, this is just one of those things where you get randoed, and there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. It was an incredibly entertaining race for us to commentate. It was an absolute pleasure to commentate. So thank you very much for putting this on. Congratulations on making it this far. It's really, really quite an accomplishment. Give this guy a follow. Give dataworld a follow. We'll put those links in chat again for everyone. Yeah, that's all I got. What do you got?
That is all for me. I want everybody to have a fantastic day. Please keep in mind about that Overworld Glitches tournament coming up. 64 players only, so it is going to be pretty exclusive. It's going to be a mini tournament, but just keep that in mind and check into it if you are an OWG player.
And as we sign off here, I'm going to remind everybody we are on Speed Gaming too. Definitely give this channel a follow. Also give the other Speed Gaming channels a follow. I think it's Speed Gaming 1 through like 23 now. I think we're up to
1 through 6.
1 through 6. I was close. As well as
if you happen to be
go ahead,
one of the Arlen Substitute Teacher of the Year 3 times in a row, you can follow Speed Gaming Espanol. You can follow Speed Gaming Francais or Speed Gaming Deutsch.
That's right. We're multilingual now. That's right. That's fantastic. And in addition to all that, make sure to follow a link to the past Randomizer channels. We got some tournament action going on over there as well. Not today though. This is the only race of the day. So that's a link to ALTTPR Randomizer. That's 1 through 4, I believe they got over there. And the runners, obviously the runners put on one heck of a show. And you know what? You can follow us. You can follow me. You can follow Virtua Cat here. You can follow the fantastic tracker that was able to track despite the stream being frozen for half the time. That was an incredible performance by Sinak, by the way. That was great. Or Snack or Tack. I don't know how to pronounce your name, man. I'm very sorry.
I just want to draw attention to I want to say thank you to Signal C in the chat giving us a heads up on some of the matches that are happening. Starting tomorrow, Hippos versus Ben. That is going to be a humdinger of a match. And then other matches in the round 16, we got Gerdo versus Asazas, Christos versus Faraime, Salty versus Kyong, TGH versus Jim, Pink Kitty Rose versus Zelga, Zero Rush versus Andy, and Gloin will be taking on today's winner, Unfit.
Sinak. That's how you say it. Sinak. Give the Sinak a follow. All right, give everybody a follow. Just follows all around. Thank you all very much for watching. Get hype about that Overworld Glitches tournament. That should be fun. And thanks, everyone.
Hey, you all have a good night.